everybody. Welcome to the first installment of Danzyland. Oh my god, it's real. I've had podcasts in the past before, but they're usually like themed. They were themed. Like Crowd's Fault with Jake was just basically a post-apocalyptic prediction podcast. Basically, we would predict what like certain things would end the world and why, and we actually predicted the pandemic. Like if you go back, the episodes are out there somewhere. If you go back, we predicted that shit like hardcore. And then we had a Counting Lights podcast with Chris Germany, more wrestling themed and everything. And this is just a general podcast of things that I obsess about with my friends, whether it's scandals, movies, music, sports, comedy, stand-up comedy, improv comedy, Hungarian comedy, I don't know. Yeah. Just wherever comedy comes really from.
Yeah, I think it actually comes from a central vein in Nicaragua, which
I'm glad you said the country. I'm glad that was the country. That sounded like it was about to go off the rails really soon.
Yeah.
This is my.
I said it pretty clearly, and I'd like that on the record. The case.
This gentleman coming to us from a display in IKEA is my friend Brooks, all the way in Austin, Texas. This podcast would probably be easier if I still lived in Texas. But of course, I have to complicate everything. Well,
I mean, as is your nature, as you are wont to do.
You have a mental breakdown, and sometimes you just need to move across the country.
Sometimes you move across
just the country. Just a change of scenery.
Mental breakdown. I'm close myself because I live in Austin, Texas.
Yeah, well, people predicted that I would move up to the mountains and just have seclusion.
Who are these people?
Family.
They were close people. They were very close.
My father. Don Rickles in Dirty Work. Don Rickles in Dirty Work.
Me and he said, "You're gonna move up to the mountains."
No. You want to know something funny? Like that's one of my favorite movies of all time. But when Don Rickles says that in that scene, like even as a kid, when he would say, "Why don't you move up to the mountains and not bother anybody?" There would be a part of me as a child that said, "That sounds great." And now,
what's extra funny about that is I lived in the mountains my whole life, and then
on the other end. On the other end,
on the West Coast.
Yeah.
I'm from Oregon, and I had my mental breakdown. I was like, I'm going to move to the desert. And because I was like, in my infantile stupidity, it was like, you know what, I want more sun.
That sounds so terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're talking...
I was like, man, I'm so sick of the fucking clouds and the mountains. I'm gonna move to a place where there is none of it. And then I fell in love here, and I was like, shit. In the desert.
You're talking to a Texan of 35 years. That sounds terrible.
I done thunderstruck myself. Golly.
Well... our change needed to. I mean, I didn't have a breakdown and then say like let's move during the breakdown. Like I had a breakdown and it was just like I need to change the scenery.
Yeah.
And with that, I stopped doing comedy for a year.
And then your wife was just like, "Yeah, let's do it."
I mean, she was. We were just tired of the same thing every day, and plus. And I'm not going to go like too into it with the stand-up comedy aspect of it.
100%.
Because, I love people down there. I really do. It just, for me, I was working every club. It's something I'd always wanted to do ever since I got to Dallas. But I was a drunk. Took me like 8 or 9 years to get off the alcohol. Here I am. I'm approaching 10 years sober. But like at the time, I was like, 7, 8 years sober. I was working every club, and I just, you get tired. You get tired of the same ways. You get tired of the same things. One thing I will say, Because, like, I moved up here and started doing comedy and realized, like, there's a much grander thing to all of this. There's, like, I was part of a city where I thought it's a stepping stone to, like, to be in a good place in comedy. But
community.
Yeah, but I thought it was, like, part of, something more. I don't know. I looked at it as something more than it was. You know what I mean?
You weren't realizing the grander scope.
I wasn't realizing the grander scale. And when I moved up here, and the grander scale is, like, I'm 2.5 hours away from New York City, and, like, part of me was like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, I was in a pickle with stand-up, because in my head it was just like, where do I go from here? And when you're in the same environment for so long, and that thought of where do I go from here comes, it's scary, and it's everything. And we had, like, personal living situations that weren't okay, like
and I think our stars kind of align in the manner of our career choices, because I am I like to say cook, I don't like to say chef, but moving region to region changes your idea of that career drastically. Because you kind of fall in love with the different aspects of that career in that region.
Yeah.
Because it does vary region to region. And a lot of people will like a lot of things that you're trying in a different place that maybe you thought were just bad.
Yeah.
Where you're at.
Yeah.
And so same thing with comedy, where it's just like maybe jokes don't land the same in one spot, and you think they're bad jokes, but maybe you're just in the wrong area of that joke.
And the business of comedy down there is different than the business up here. And I'm not going to dog how they do things down there. I'm not going to do it. I mean, there was, like, a bitter, resentful part of me, and that's just, like, a performer that's really hot, because, like, fucking 2018, 2019, I was every weekend, I was, like, up somewhere. And then there was a competition, a really good competition I took a runner-up in, and, like, I was hot. And then that pandemic hit, and then and not only before the pandemic hit, my best friend in comedy, like, passed away a month before.
Oof.
And then the same week we bury him,
before the pandemic?
But right before the pandemic. It was, like, right a month before, right? So we bury him. That same week, I got a feature for, like, the guy who pretty much mentored us, And so that's still in the air after the funeral and everything. And I could just see myself those last 2 years not really grieving, just throughout that whole pandemic, throughout that whole even post-pandemic,
putting that off.
Was never really grieving that like I should have. And then, like, I felt myself going on autopilot, like, a lot during 2022 to, like, from 2020 to when I moved. And
which is crazy. It's kind of crazy. I'm sorry to derail you on that, but, like, that I think that feeling is kind of universal. And I'd like to kind of expound on the feeling that we had during the pandemic, because it really did kind of change the course of how time felt.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like for me, like, the fact that it's 2025, that was 5 years ago, and it feels like it could have been fucking yesterday.
Yeah.
It was incredibly, like, I got married couple of months before the pandemic. We were on our honeymoon, I think, a couple of weeks before the pandemic hit, and that was the last time I've ever felt really like time had any matter in a timeline. Because from then on out, it was just like, was it 2024? All right, fuck it. Like, I guess. Sure.
Dude, it does feel, it doesn't feel like it's been 5 years. It really doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
It's just because the past 5 years have been compacted with so much shit. I feel like everybody got...
yeah, and it was like not tragic. It was tragedies on tragedies, and at some point we all were just like, time's a fucking illusion, right? Like, fuck all this.
And like during that part, like, so like I'm sure a lot of people are asking, like, well, you stuck inside. How come you didn't go through the grieving process, like being stuck inside?
Yeah.
It's because I was in fear for my own life. I didn't have the luxury. I didn't have the luxury not to believe the vaccine. I was a smoker at the time with asthma, just being a fucking
as well as me,
just an idiot.
Smoker. Yeah. Well, that was another thing, is like it kind of cut out a lot of social, which I mean, for the benefit, cut out a lot of like me going out and, you know, licking strange dogs, licking lampposts, cut out a lot of my social cues. But yeah, no, I would go out and I would be like, someone, and so at the time, I guess I'm showing my hand here, but someone would be like, "Hey, you want to do some of this drug?" And I'd be like, "Oh no, actually, I'm worried about COVID."
I was lame. No, dude, I wore gloves. I wore masks there for a while. Like
dude, oh yeah, I would go out to a restaurant and the whole time I would just be sitting there like this.
just eyeballing people.
I'd hear someone go, "Ooh." I gotta get out of here.
Dude, Chris Germany and I were fucking nuts. Like, I had to do the comedy thing. I had to do like everything that I was associated with and just hope for the best. I really did. But after I got vaccinated, I was more, you know. But Chris Germany and I, you know, we used to book wrestling shows along with the podcast, and we booked this wrestling show at our brewery, and it was like the first open air event. Fucking like 200 people show up, just compact around a wrestling ring.
And you're just like, I fucking hate
Chris and I are at the ring bell, like the bell ringers table, like near the entranceway, and we're looking at each other like, we're definitely getting COVID. We're definitely, like, it's definitely, and we didn't get it. And that was making me go, is it real? Is it even real? Because how do I not have it?
But that's the thing, is like, there's times like that for me, where I was like, me and my wife talked about this, where I was like, we probably got it, right? And she was like, yeah, we probably got it at some point.
Yeah.
I have a buddy who was like, man, I see people driving with their masks on. I think it's ridiculous. Which is like the politicized issue of that idea. In fact, we're talking about this 5 years later is fucking ridiculous.
Well, I was just gonna go into like basically. I mean, I'm glad we're talking about this, but my thing was just like how I couldn't get out of the misery I was in with stand up, and then I was kind of like getting angry at stand up, like subconsciously for not getting me through it. But at the time, I didn't know that. At the time, I didn't know that at all. It took moving and reflection and all that shit.
And it kind of brings me to what my main point was fucking 10 years ago when I started this conversation.
It's all good, bro.
No. That's the point of this. Is that for me, it never stopped because I worked in the food industry.
Yeah.
And when it started, we were all fucking terrified. We were like, this is it. This is the end of the restaurant. This is like no one's gonna be able to eat. And it was a bit because I worked at a pizza place at the time, which I came back to eventually. But it just fucking boomed.
Yeah.
Obviously. A pizza place with a delivery option, that was like it. And a funny note on that is that we got a call. We were getting calls from hospitals that were saying, please don't take any more deliveries, like for people gifting pizzas to nurses. We're like, we're tired. We're chock-a-block with fucking pizza.
We're fucking ninja. We're fucking Ninja Turtles right now.
Yeah,
you guys.
We're fucking deep in the paint with pizza. and we don't need.
If only the cure for COVID was pizza.
Yeah,
we could save everybody.
We'd have it'd be done. We're like, please stop sending us pizza, which I don't think anyone has ever said in their life, but they said, please stop sending us pizza. And I was like, hey, I got you. Because there was that like, and we knew this would happen. There was this like fucking like smug sense of people being like, I'm a good person. Like, I'm gonna send them pizza.
I'm extremely good person.
And they're like, I'm such a good person.
I'm gonna share it on Facebook.
I'm gonna bang my pots and pans outside my window. Yeah, thoughts and prayers, and I'm gonna send a pizza. And next time this happens, which probably pretty soon, don't send pizza. Don't do it. They don't need it. That's not what they need.
Stop sending them pizza. It's 5 years later. Stop sending them pizza.
It's 5 years. They're still like, hey, look, send them a pizza. Like, I don't know.
But yeah, before we get into it,
I'm trying to get some thoughts and prayers out there.
And so I'm just about pizza. But before we get into that, I just wanted to thank, now that I am doing stand-up again, new mindset, the people up here have just been absolutely wonderful to me, including the other night, as this is being recorded, 2 nights ago, did Stroudsburg, PA at the Sherman Showcase. I want to thank John Greer. Special shout out to John Greer, and special shout out to Sharon Simon, the headliner. It was a wonderful show, packed, hot. It's hot in there. So many people in there. The AC was just like, woo! I was sweating.
It's like, you know how people do hot yoga? You did hot comedy.
It was. I mean, it was a workout. But it was a great show. It was a great show. The people in there, they're sweating just as much as I am, but they're laughing, and everybody had a good time. It was a wonderful show. But also, now that I got back in stand-up comedy, I would be remiss if I didn't thank the very funny, very hilarious Ellen Doyle and Zach Hammond for just kind of getting that sadness out of me and making me like fall in love with comedy again. Because last year we did a bunch of tragedy seminar shows. It's our like little comedy faction. We're DX. I don't know. But it was just our brand of shows, or Ellen's brand of shows, Ellen and Mark Hoover's brand of shows that they put me on and made me fall in love with comedy. She gave me my first show back in a proper 2 years. She booked me to open for her special in Manhattan. And that show, it was just like, okay, if I go up here and bomb, I'm not doing stand-up. I didn't go. I was just like, I'm not doing it anymore. But I went up there, and it's on my YouTube. Like, there's a 20-minute like YouTube set, and not many people know it. That's like me not being on stage for 2 years, and I was just like, okay, I can still do this.
So, would you call it Danzy Raw?
No. Especially nowadays with what we're about to get into.
Yeah, that's true.
About to get into the Diddy Trial. But a special thank you to...
I was alluding to Eddie Murphy, but...
Oh, no. I could never... No, that's way better.
I'd like it on the record that he does own the purple leather suit, so...
Dude, I would hold on to that forever. Yeah. I would never get rid of the purple suit. But special thanks...
It's custom tailored.
Special thanks to everybody I mentioned: John Greer, Sarah Simon, Sharon Simon, not Sarah Simon, Sharon Simon, Ellen Doyle, Zach Hammond, Mark Hoover. Just for the past. Chuck Lorre, John Cryer, Chuck Lorre.
God damn it! You beat me to my
Charlie Sheen, Angus T. Hall? Was that kid?
Stone? I thought you
said Stone. It was Stone. Angus T. Stone. But yeah, special thanks to all of them again, just for the past 2 years. That's it.
Just a heads up.
Has it been 2 years? For the past year. Maybe 1-2 years. But I love them to death, and they're going to be on the Danzyland podcast eventually. Probably sooner than you think.
And I would like to mention that for future podcast, sitcoms are going to come up a lot. That's something.
Oh yeah.
Me and Dan.
No, you fucking sitcoms.
Know your sitcoms.
If you're gonna be a part of this, know your sitcoms.
You got to know your sitcoms. That's
and
something that.
And God help me, if
autistically well, I'd say.
If you don't know Cheers either, just get the fuck go, get out of here. If you don't know Cheers,
actually, no, don't go.
No, go.
Come in. Wade in these waters.
Watch the pilot.
Watch Cheers.
It's on Netflix. It's been on Netflix for 20 fucking years.
There's fucking 42 seasons. It's a fucking amazing show.
Even after Diane leaves.
Definitely watch Roseanne, because that's going to come up so fucking many
Not
times.
so much now. Like Roseanne and the Connors. If you're tempted, we're talking classic Roseanne. We're talking classic Roseanne. I refuse to acknowledge.
I didn't say watch the Connors.
I refuse to acknowledge the Connors. I refuse.
I don't refuse, but I have a lot of notes about it.
It's not called Brooksland. It's called Danzyland. I'm purposely mispronouncing the land from that part.
I am writing down Paul Schaefer.
Anyways, again, I'm Dan Danzy. He's Brooks Brooksy.
I'm Paul Schaefer.
This is Paul Schaefer. I'm Dan Danzy. All right.
Yeah.
So
let me put on some sunglasses and play a fucking keyboard.
Dave. That's how Paul Schaefer would laugh. If you don't know old Letterman, you need to get the fuck. Okay. All right. If you've been following me on social media, you know that when I do post, I've been talking about this because I just find it so fucking fascinating. The Diddy Trial is, and yes, I want to make part of this podcast with Diddy Trial updates. The first thing was the jury selection with, hey, do you guys know who Michael B. Jordan is? Do you guys know who Kid Cudi is? Do you know who Mike Myers is? It's just like, whoa, why is Mike Myers? I even have a joke about it and everything. I might have to take it out, though, because I don't know the circumstances. I don't want to get him in trouble for anything he hadn't done, Because it turned out
I would like to get him in trouble for something.
Like with Kid Cudi, it ended up being like because Cassie Ventura had an affair with Kid Cudi. I don't know.
No, I'm not talking about his personal life.
Oh, okay. You just didn't like you just didn't like So I Married an Axe Murderer. That's what. Are you
kidding me? Fucking don't you ever fucking besmirch me like that again. I love that movie.
Okay, so basically the first couple of days of testimony, Cassie Ventura has to get on the stand. All right, she's the star witness, but she is also very, very pregnant. So that's why she's taking the stand first. But she's the star witness.
Very pregnant. Hold on,
very pregnant. I'm only going by court sketches, and they made her look like she was about to like give birth to penguins or some shit. Like she's just fucking like, is she even giving birth to a human baby? And then, and when you hear about what happens at the freak-offs, you actually ask yourself that question: is she gonna?
That is actually a good point. It's like I don't know.
So, from what you get out of Cassie Ventura's testimony, wow, made the escorts, allegedly made the escorts. I should say that allegedly made the escorts, male escorts, pee and poop on her. There was a lot of
poop. There was poop involved. This was.
Is there? Maybe. Hold on. No. I'm sorry. Pee. There's only pee. There's only pee that I know from what I'm reading. I'm sorry. I'm just so used to these cases.
Let's keep one bowel movement at a time.
I'm so used to cases like these also having poop involved. It seems like.
I wish I could never hear.
Well, no, but when you hear of this, when you hear of people with defecation kinks, with like, because there are people that have these kinks. I'm not one of them.
Did you ever hear about the guy that I think this is a 4chan thing, where he had a scatological kink, and then he had it done to him, and he realized that he did not care for it mid-act, And,
that's interesting.
I can't think of something more terrifying.
You think people like fantasize it, and then they
that's what I'm saying.
They fantasize it being better than it is, and then you get in the reality of the situation.
And then they got a load of poopy in their mouth.
Yeah, it's like someone's.
I don't like this one bit.
When do you think the two girls from the Two Girls One Cup were like, oh, that's bad? Yeah, no, this is not fun.
Probably the first time they went to a soft serve.
So, anyways, so during Cassie Ventura's testimony, we basically, according to her, find out the details surrounding the video of the hotel hallway and everything, how she didn't want to do a freak off that day, and Diddy was upset.
Sorry, double booked.
But then, and you hear these grotesque details in her testimony. Go read transcripts, because I'm not even sure we're allowed to read it on YouTube, just me being the small channel that I am. I'm not going to. But the defense, I'm going to say, as someone, it's not that I don't want Diddy to win. I just don't believe this was... I don't believe this was consensual just going in, because you heard all the stories about Diddy. It's been out there for years. You know what I mean? But the defense brought up a lot of good evidence too. Text messages that say I'm always down to freak off and all that.
Hold on.
But I'm doing a quick speed up. So hold that thought. But the testimony of Dawn Richard, Danity Kane member, which they called her a high-profile witness. I had to Google what Danity Kane was, and I lived in the era. They were out.
I did watch a lot of TRL, so...
Yeah. I had no idea who they were, but it was a band produced by Diddy.
From Making the Band.
From Making the Band. I never watched that show. The only frame of reference I have on that show is that Chappelle Show sketch. So she sued Combs last year, the girl from Danity Kane, alleging the rap mogul groped, assaulted, and imprisoned her, threatened her life when she tried to intervene in the defense of Ventura. And Combs' attorney said the mogul was shocked and disappointed by the lawsuit. Ventura's former best friend, Carrie Morgan, also took the stand today. She described multiple instances where she says she saw Combs physically abuse Ventura. So now it's looking from other eyewitnesses. Now, I haven't seen the defense part of it. I don't think the defense, as of this recording, has been able to cross-testify. But now it's looking like this is what the prosecution needs. The prosecution needs to show force or coercion. If you have these witnesses saying, well, we fucking saw him beat her, and then, but they still have to take out reasonable doubt. They still have to have something that takes out that reasonable doubt. Because he can be a domestic abuser and still have kinks and not racketeering a whole illegal sex operation by forcing people. You still got to prove, just the reasonable doubt. You got to take that out, because to be fair, there is some reasonable doubt still here.
I think it falls into that John McAfee situation.
Pat McAfee?
No, yes.
God, if only I could do this podcast in a sleeveless shirt.
Me in that.
If only I want to do this podcast in a sleeveless shirt, just standing up, just someday.
Listen.
Bro. Fucking Colts.
All right.
Colts.
All right.
Caitlin Clark. Give it up first. Give it up for Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark, bro. Okay.
No, right. John McAfee, famously of the McAfee
antivirus.
Antivirus. Have you seen this documentary about him?
That never works. What? It never works.
Have you seen the documentary about him?
Is it a documentary about how the shit never works?
No. Are you saying you haven't seen the documentary about
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it.
So this dude was probably the fucking craziest fucking dude in the world. He made this antivirus, blah, blah, blah. never fucking worked, blah, blah, blah. But it was installed in every worldwide. And then he became a billionaire. He bought a private island and got into some Bolivian arms deals or something of the sort. And then he talked about how he used to hire prostitutes to poop through a hammock into his mouth. And
as you do.
As you are wont to do. But he did say that, like, you know, at some point you become so rich that, like, normal sex just doesn't fucking do it for you. And and if that's his case, he did amplify that a lot. Real quick, I did want to get back to that point. You said text message.
Yeah.
And
there are several text messages from the defense to...
Yeah, and I what I wanted to say was that it sounded like you said text mess. And
text mess.
Text mess.
It was a text mess.
No, text mess. And it sounds like Tex-Mex.
No. Yeah.
That's all I wanted to touch on.
Okay. Well, I didn't know we were supposed to correct each other.
So. No. What I'm saying is it was lateral thinking.
Oh, yeah?
A text message. I thought text mess. And I was like, is there legs there? Is there legs for a joke? There wasn't. But I wanted it involved.
You can sign up for the Diddy on Trial newsletter, which is what I'm doing right now, and listen to Dateline's nightly podcast. I'm trying to get sponsorship, and I don't even have a viewer yet.
Ooh,
it's amazing.
Is Terry Gross on that?
If there is, you're getting 2%.
No, Terry Gross. I want Terry Gross to be on that.
Oh, I thought you meant like a profit or something. I thought you meant like there'd be money.
Terry Gross would be perfect for that because...
Oh, it's a person.
Okay, so we're going to pretend like we don't know who Terry Gross, the National Public Radio...
Do I look like I listen to NPR? Do I look like I listen to anything other than the voices?
Like I listen to NPR?
Yes.
That's because I do.
Yes.
Fucker. Yes.
They told you to buy those plants in the background.
Yeah. I've got a couple of tote bags, I would say otherwise. I'm just saying Terry Gross would be the perfect sponsor for that because her last name is Gross.
Okay. Well, anyways.
Moving on.
Morgan also testified that...
Text mess.
Now, Ventura's former best friend, Carrie Morgan, this is a different person than the Danny Kane person. The Danny Kane person just testified how she saw Ventura attack Cassie with a skillet. And then the defense tried to undermine her credibility today by highlighting the inconsistencies with her statements and attempts to continue working with Combs despite the alleged violence that she witnessed. But Carrie Morgan testified that Ventura was jealous. This is another person who also said they witnessed abuse, but also said that Ventura was jealous of Combs' ex-girlfriend Kim Porter and that Combs was jealous of Ventura's relationship with actor Michael B. Jordan. So that's how Michael B. Jordan and Kid Cudi are involved in all of this as being like former, little side pieces. Let's call them what they are. Side pieces. So is Mike Myers a side piece? That's my real intrigue to all of this, is what is Mike Myers' involvement? And, he was recently on Saturday Night Live, and I watched that sketch with Kenan Thompson where Kenan's playing Kanye, and what I noticed is that the Diddy trial is mentioned, and the audience kind of gasp. Did you hear that too?
Yeah, I did hear that, and I could be,
and then
it was almost silenced by my own gasp and look at my wife, who we were both like, are they gonna mention it? And they don't really mention it. It's just more like shrugged away, like, and then Kanye, it turns into a joke where Kanye doesn't even know is comparing himself to Diddy. The whole sketch is a little...
It's weird. It's out of place.
It doesn't fit. And they bring up, obviously they bring up, Kanye in, 2005?
Mm-hmm.
bringing up George Bush,
which don't get me wrong, would work. Like the reference would work even more if Mike Myers was the host of the episode.
Yeah,
he wasn't.
100%. That's actually a really good point. Is that like it doesn't really make sense categorically with what like the whole like they apropos of nothing. They just bring this sketch in.
Yeah,
where Mike Myers just is in a elevator with Kanye, which is it's just bizarre. It was an out of place.
And sketch. Scarlett Johansson, she's the host. She's only in the sketch for like 2 minutes. Yeah. It's like a 6-7 minute sketch, maybe shorter. But it's
put my tinfoil hat on. It felt like they were getting ahead of something.
It did feel like oh, let's remember Mike Myers and he's a legend. And it's just I don't.
And he's been a prominent feature in season 50, because he's fighting, I guess, Elon Musk against Canada, which at this point is such a fucking bizarre thing to say that we're like fighting Canada.
But if I'm Mike Myers,
okay,
if I'm Mike Myers, if I had done something really bad, I feel like he wouldn't be on a sketch from Saturday Night Live during the week of the trial and shit. Like, I feel like...
Doesn't it seem like that's what he would do?
But it doesn't... But if it could still be something embarrassing. It could still be something like, what? And if you have this sketch... Like, it probably isn't anything illegal. It probably isn't anything to do with a freak-off. It could have been like he met her at a party and started texting her while she was with Diddy. That's for all we know. Mike Myers could have almost pulled Cassie Ventura or something.
Yeah, if he was like, hey, what are you up to? And then they're like, now you're in a trial.
Yeah. Because I think if he was doing anything illegal, he wouldn't show up on Saturday Night Live because you risk the reputation of Saturday Night Live. You ruin...
But also, he has a reputation.
He does. He does. Yeah.
You ask anyone, they're gonna say that he's
kind of
a fucking dick.
And it could be a thing where like it is something really crazy, and then he didn't tell Saturday Night Live, or he told Saturday Night Live was bullshit. But I'm not gonna speculate. But just from what I've seen...
This is not a libelous podcast.
What I've seen, though, I think it's more of the Michael B. Jordan, Kid Cudi situation. It's nothing like they were in freak-offs, but he is somehow involved in a, like, maybe he's friends with Diddy. Maybe him and Diddy had a conversation about Cassie.
But that's the whole thing is, like with somebody like Diddy, it's like there's such a wide swath of people involved in Diddy. That could have been like, I had no idea he was, butt fucking a cantaloupe or whatever. But like they were like, hey, you want to get lunch? But then now it turns out that he was, butt fucking cantaloupes.
I mean, you could pretty much call any guest party to the stand. I mean,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
These stories go back years. Ellen DeGeneres.
Will Smith, Ellen DeGeneres.
Ellen DeGeneres has a weird tweet that's aged poorly, calling him Cuddle McCuddle stuff or some shit like that. It's a very weird tweet now, and then she's linked with shit.
I mean, at this point, they'd be like Nelson Mandela. It would be like, all right, I fucking guess.
All right, the new pope. The new pope is on the
Let's
testimony.
Talk about the pope.
I mean, I
want to talk about it because I know your feelings on the city of Chicago.
Good. I'm glad we got a pope. This was going to tell us how great Chicago is. Yeah, that's what we needed. Yeah. Or just another American in any type of leadership. That's great. That's wonderful.
Yeah, it's not the right time.
What could go wrong?
Yeah, it's not the right time. It's not the right, like, had this happened during Barack's time, this would have been a lot more proud. More proud.
I'm just...
Oh, especially with Barack being from Chicago. Holy shit, can you imagine? Oh, golly.
It's not
we would have been talking about deep dish for days.
Nothing against, it's not a political thing, nothing. I just, Chicago, I mean, they just talk about how great Chicago is. And it's, at the same time, though, Texans talk about how great Texas is.
Yeah, well.
But I've just.
And hold on.
Go ahead.
Something I want to touch on, because I fucking hate living in Texas a lot of the time. But if I leave Texas and somebody talks shit about Texas, I get so fucking mad.
They do a good job there. That instilling the Texas pride. Texas does it.
Yeah.
Dude, you watch the Ford commercials and they have some anthem about a Ford truck in Texas. I remember back in the early days.
There's trucks that say Texas Edition, and it's like, that doesn't happen anywhere else. I'll tell you what, where I came from, there's no Oregon Edition trucks. There's plenty of trucks, but there's no Oregon Edition trucks. That's too fucking long.
Oregon Edition. It's all flannel.
Yeah, Oregon. Yeah,
it's just a flannel fucking truck with Nirvana. Nirvana.
That was Washington, you piece of shit.
Yeah, but y'all claim him too, you sons of bitches. Y'all claim him too. You do, you bastards. No, but
it's just a meth pipe and a log.
I remember an old Ford jingle from my childhood. Ford and Texas go hand in hand. It's the only way to drive across the promised land.
Okay, so
that was a Ford Texas commercial.
I would like to expound on that because Dairy Queen, famously.
Yes.
So sorry about that. People always would come up to me when I first moved here, and they were like, "Do you have Dairy Queen in Oregon?" And I was like, "Yeah, I worked Taco Bell next to a Dairy Queen when I was like fucking 10 years old or whatever, kind of fucking." And when I moved here, I would see the commercials, and it was, "Do you want to do the jingle, or should I?"
DQ, that's what I like about Texas.
Yeah, so that, or that's the stop sign in Texas.
What was it in Oregon?
Just called Dairy Queen. They did not mention Texas one bit.
We met,
but that was the funny thing, is they were like, "Wait, you have Dairy Queen in Oregon?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's a fucking fast food chain."
I want to thank you. You remind me of I mentioned him earlier. You remind me of an old Justin Thompson joke. Mentioned him earlier, passed away. But one of his jokes was like that DQ jingle. And he'd be like, "You got other states, that jingle is different everywhere." He's just making it up. And he'd be like, "DQ, the only thing good in New Jersey." Would just make fun of states like that. DQ,
Delaware,
what are you doing in Wisconsin? Like,
yeah.
Fucking hit every time.
So we fucking had Dairy Queens in Oregon, but like I did not realize it was a staple of Texas. And I came in, and I would see commercials. So I was like, "DQ, this is the stop sign of Texas," and like that was like, they were like, "This is Texas, all right, Dairy Queen, come get your fucking steak nuggets, you piece of shit." But like,
you piece
but like
of
where
shit. Fuck you! Come get some ice cream. Fuck you!
Look, you love it.
Come get a chicken finger basket, you fuck!
You stupid idiot! Get in here. But where I'm from, like, there was a couple of Dairy Queens. I don't mean to brag, but there's a couple of Dairy Queens, and only one of them sold tacos, and we would have to drive like an hour north.
Only one of them sold tacos.
Yeah. So we would have to drive an hour north to get tacos from a very specific Dairy Queen. I'm going to mention that Oregon is not super lush with great cuisine.
Sure.
We
y'all like eat pine cones and shit or something.
Yeah, we eat pine cones because we're fucking sexist shit. No, it's funny because like in Oregon, where I grew up, my dad, who was a chef, always made fun of this. That every Chinese place sold what they called pink sauce.
Oh yeah.
I mentioned this for lo mein, which was a very it's kind of a wild combination of ketchup and mayonnaise that you put. In. Yeah.
I mean, just cane sauce, really.
No, it was. But every Chinese place that was run by white people, they would
just dude. Oh,
ketchup and mayonnaise on their fucking lo mein.
I got one of those down the street. Chinese restaurant owned by white people. Just the rice is yellow, like just the rice is like caution sign yellow, and like it's imitation crab meat, and they just cut up the imitation crab meat and put it in the.
And they just put mayonnaise on whatever.
And they just put mayonnaise and soy sauce. Mayonnaise and soy sauce.
They're like, we're figuring this out as we go. We're doing this as we can.
Speaking of mayonnaise and soy sauce, also involved with the Diddy trial. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Gary Sinise is on the list now. What the fuck is going on?
But just to put a bow on this, trial's still going. The next couple witnesses are gonna be escorts. So we're gonna get
male escorts.
Bro, I wish cameras were allowed in courtroom, because you know what? I've got a weird sense of humor. But something about escorts describing all the details is just in a dead serious face, because they've seen it all, and like nothing like shakes them because they've been, would make me fucking laugh.
And like, like there's a sick fucking humor to just being like, and then he put a whole tube of Go-Gurt in my ass. I don't know.
I get peed on 30 or 40 times a week. It's it's a living.
And he put some sparkle stickers on my butt, and then he fucked it raw. I don't know how to tell you.
Just dead faced. I'm not shaming sex workers.
No,
but if
not.
unless you don't have a limit and you get peed and pooped on. I'm sorry. I'm just like, if you get peed and pooped on, just don't do it. I
think we could put a line on poop. I think poop is the line.
Really? I mean, I don't.
And I think that's an interesting point to be like, look, I am a sex worker. You can pee on me. And the second the poop comes out,
I don't like the pee or the poop. This is gross. It's gross.
Yeah, I know. It's a biological fallacy.
Yeah. But
I do like the idea that there is a line between the pee and the poop. I think that is.
It's called the taint. Boom!
Yeah. Shit!
I'm fucking on it, dude. It's back, baby. It's back. It's not funny, but it's quick. Hey, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and feel free to click any one of these videos that pop up somewhere around me. We'll see you next video. Thanks.